starting, and we're live on YouTube. Hello, everyone, and hello to the YouTube community. This will be a very special episode of the Service Design Show because we're live this evening, this morning, this afternoon, and we'll be talking about like I said, the most iconic event in the service design community, and that's the Global Service Jam. And I've got 4 guests with me in this live chat. So let's do a really quick round because you might know some faces, but probably not all of them. So let's start with, on the left side, Adam.
Hi, everyone. I'm Adam Lawrence. I live in Germany, and I'm a service innovation guy, and I co-initiated the Global Service Jam back in 2011.
2011. Awesome. And then as well.
Hi, I'm Ezekiel Williams. I'm from Miami, Florida. I've been jamming since 2015. We're taking a brief break from jamming for the time being, but I'm looking forward to jumping back into jamming pretty soon. It's a lot of fun. So
you're a service design jam veteran.
Yes, I'm also a service design innovation guy, kind of like Adam, though Adam has more a longer journey than I've had so far.
And you're based in Miami right now, right? Was that true?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, I am based in Miami, in Florida. Yes.
So let's move over. Adam was in Düsseldorf right now, right?
That's right.
I'm in Utrecht. Then let's move over to a different part of the world. Paola with the chicken. Say hi to everyone.
My name is Gas. I'm from Bogota, Colombia. We've been jamming with Aptica, which is the enterprise I work in, for about 3 years now. HQ 2 times already.
Cool. And the final one, and we have to do a little bit of round of applause for Ruth, because Ruth, tell us where you are right now.
Hi everyone, I'm Ruth. I'm from Australia. At the moment I'm in Darwin, and it's a very early 4:30 in the morning. I've been jamming for about 5 years, and I've been in HQ, I've been a jammer, I've been a host, and I'm really passionate about making change in the public sector and using jamming to do it.
Cool. So we're here with 4 people who know the Global Service Jam as no other. And I started this live episode because the jam is coming up on, help me with this, Mark. Oh man, Adam, help me with this, Adam, because it's on March 9th and 11th, right?
It's on the 9th to 11th of March in most countries. Some countries have a different weekend if they have, for example, a Muslim calendar or something. So they might jam a few days earlier, but generally that weekend around the 10th of March is what we're aiming for.
All right. Guys, I have prepared a few questions for you, and I don't know if people are already watching. There are a few. Hey, I see Mike Press in the chat. Say hi, guys, if you're in the chat. Let us know where you're watching from. And also, if you have questions for the people who are in this live episode, I'll forward all your questions. So welcome, Mike, and welcome to everyone who's watching. And as long as there are no public questions, I'll start firing my questions at you guys. And the first question that came to my mind when I was thinking about this episode was, could you describe the jam in one sentence? And I'll start with you, Ruth. So you get the chance to all describe the jam in one sentence. And Ruth, what's the jam for you?
It's rapid, high energy, collaborative, fun for purpose.
All right.
This one.
Paola, what's the jam for you? Are we still live in Bogota? Yeah.
A way to connect with different people from different backgrounds. And I think the most important is to really have fun.
Connecting, having fun. Sounds good. I like that. As well, you had the time to think.
Oh, well, I would say it's a sprint of discovery, fun, and connection for everyone.
And last but not least, Adam.
Great answers already. So let me add another version. It's a learning space in which you can try new ways of working, new ways of moving an idea or a question forward through the motto of doing and not talking.
Doing and not talking. I've heard that one before somewhere. So I heard a lot about fun, a lot about doing, a lot about connecting. We did a jam actually here in Utrecht back in, I don't know, I think it was the first edition.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, it was the first edition. And I can relate to all the things you're saying, guys. So we had a second person in, Mahmoud. Yeah, the Riyadh Service Jam. Awesome. I'm really curious to see if other people who are watching right now are doing their own jams. Is there a jam in your country? Let us know in the chat, guys. So, rapid fire, because we're going to keep the pace as high as in the jams too. So, Adam, let's start with you. We'll do the round back. So, could you give me 1 or 2 ingredients for a successful jam? What makes up a successful jam?
I think the most important thing about a jam, we call it the golden rule, is keep it fun. Yeah? A jam is incredibly hard work. People are really tired after they've been jamming. But they also say, wow, I did 3 weeks work in a weekend, and it was a brilliant weekend. And that's really strange. You think, well, how can it be fun and effective? And I think the secret to that is, you're keeping it moving and you keep it fun. So we can deal with very serious issues at jams, but we take a light-hearted approach to ourselves and a serious approach to the problem.
So summarize that for me. What is the secret and what is the key ingredient for a successful jam?
Focused fun.
Focused fun. All right. Paola, what would you say?
For me, it's having like the best team to make the jam a reality. I think that's really important, and also being really like compromise participants during the whole jam. That two things are key to make the jam a great experience.
The team is super important, absolutely. As well, what would you say? Do you have anything to add to these answers?
Man, I'm going to take a slightly controversial approach here. I would say what's been interesting for us is the pattern interrupt. And I think that's something that we really picked up from Adam, of disrupting when people are having a meeting and really pushing the doing, not talking. And to piggyback off something you said, Adam, I remember somebody in our first golf jam said, I feel I did 3 months worth of work in 2 days. And they were just so, and people are always so shocked by the amount of work they can do in such a short amount of time when they work in this different way. It's amazing.
3 months of work in a weekend. Ruth, can you relate to that?
Well, I agree with what everyone else has said, and they stole my answers. So I might build on what Ezekiel said, and I think one of the most important things for the jam is the prototype, and that's what makes it different. It's not about producing an idea or agenda and a to-do list. It's actually about making something real. And so that happens, that manifests towards the end of the jam usually. But yeah, prototyping for me.
The acting, the making it tangible, making it real is super powerful, right? It's the getting it out there.
Of the jam.
Yeah, totally. Adam, anything to add? Yeah,
I think that prototyping works so well because it just means we have so many more communication channels at once. We're not just using words. I can see what you're doing. I can interact with it myself. I can take it out and test it. So all the things which are normally just opinions, my opinion is bigger than your opinion. Well, my opinion is older than your opinion. This kind of thing we have in typical meetings becomes experiments. And experiment is always much more informative than someone's words are.
So yeah, more material than just words spoken or written, right? Yeah. And we actually have a contribution on the chat, and Mike is saying the ideal jam is a perfect balance between hedonic hedonism and idealism. It's got to be joyous, but as Adam says, we need to be serious about the intent. That's a nice summary.
Well, it's easy for Mike. He's sitting at home having time to think about these things. You just throw questions at us.
I'm going to give you a hard time. That's my goal here. So Adam, you've been in the jam since day one. I was explaining to the girls and guys at the 31 Volt studio that I was going to have this conversation this evening, and I asked, what should I ask the people who are in the live episode, and they said, ask them, how do you keep it interesting after all those years? How do you make it interesting for yourself, and how do you make it interesting for the participants?
I think the reason that I hope it is interesting for people, I really hope it is. We see people turn over, take a break, they come back. That's great. But generally, people do keep coming, and I think one of the reasons behind that is that basically it's a lot of freedom in the jam. We have this very tight timeline, and we say this is the weekend, it's got to be on this weekend, and this is the theme, and it's got to be this theme, and we're really anal about that stuff. But we say, in that space, do what you like. You don't have to use service design methods, you don't have to use design thinking approach, you can use whatever you want to do as long as you're not sitting around talking. And so I think that gives people, both hosts and participants, a chance to try something new every year, to really show the best of what they are and try new versions of themselves, new tools, new methods, new approaches. So if you like, it's a free space, and that freedom, that emptiness, if you like, is really important.
It's an excuse to experiment, to play around, right? To try new things.
Absolutely.
Any thing to add to this, Ruth, or?
Yeah, I think just to build on what Adam said, I think no jam is ever the same either, because as everyone said, one of the key things, I think Paola touched on it, is that the people are really important, and you never have exactly the same people in the room. You never have the same theme. So every jam is a little bit different. And I think that keeps it interesting. But for me, what keeps me going back and getting up at ridiculous hours of the morning is the fact that, and I think Adam mentioned it in his describing the jam in one sentence, it's that ability to see people change and grow. And I think, I've certainly changed and grown because of the jam. I don't think I would be where I am if I hadn't got involved with this community, this event. So for me, the ability to see people do that, 3 times a year is pretty special, and it's something that's worth investing in.
I'll ask you another question, Ruth, because to build on that, and before I do that, again, if you're watching live, super awesome that you're here. We're talking about the Global Service Jam that is taking place on March 9th till 11th. If you're in the chat, let us know where you're watching from, and let us know if you'll be participating in the chat. So I'm keeping a close eye on the chat here on YouTube. So let us know where you're from and if you're going to participate in one of the jams. Ruth, you said, I learned so much from the jam. Give me one example. What is the thing that you keep most dear memories of the jam related to what you've learned?
Sure. I think I'm probably going to have 2 things. I'll be a little bit on the answer. But firstly, there's the tools and the techniques which I learn from other designers and from participants from different backgrounds that I then take back and use in what I do every day. But I also think the jam for me teaches you what's possible. So Ezekiel, I think, touched on that you don't realize you can achieve 3 months' work in 2 days, but you can. And so then you go away knowing it's possible for me to do that. It's possible for me to work with users directly very early in the process. It's possible for me to produce a working prototype in a group I've never met in 48 hours.
So it's that confidence, right? It builds confidence.
Yeah, and you can do it. So then you go back and go, well, why don't I do this all the time? So.
Paola, what would you say? What have you learned from the jam?
We've been in a long journey, and especially the HQing part, I think is key to every jammer and to every host that would like to receive more information. Having Adam and Natasha here for 2 times in 2 different jams has been amazing. From the different experiences he's had in other jams, mix we can do during the jams, I think it's really important also to do the twin jams, which is
Twin
you're
jams.
doing your jam and you can call, I don't know, somewhere else in the world, and you can see what the other jam is doing and what are you doing at the same time. And I think you can really learn different methodologies people use to get to the 2 days of the jam.
I remember that when we were jamming, we were cooperating with people from Melbourne. So when it was like 11 p.m. in the afternoon here in the Netherlands, they were just starting up at 8 o'clock in the morning, and we were like having Skype calls at 11 p.m. People, it was super exciting, but people were, after 3 days, they were like, oh man, what happened here? Ezequiel, what have you learned from the jam?
Well, Paula, we've been twin jams with Haptica at least a couple of times, so that's been a lot of fun. We're in the same time zone, so it's pretty.
That helps.
Pretty easy. Yes, it does. What have I learned? Well, I mean, personally, for me, so rewarding to just support people on their journey. I'm surprised. I'll have a jam, host a jam, and then sometime later, even a year later, somebody recognizes me and stops me and says like, oh my God, you changed my life. They went off, did a different career, quit their jobs. Somebody I ran into a few months ago, she had an inspiration that she had in her mind, but she didn't know how to make it come to life. So the jam gave her enough tools and processes to then create these prototypes. So she told me it's one of those cases where she was saying to me that the jam changed her life, and then she showed me this prototype that she already had, and she was raising funds to produce it, and it was for some kind of like cell phone holder. And I've had people that have been very inspired to, in fact, I'm partnering now with somebody. We're working out a partnership, and she got inspired to go study design thinking in Harvard and in California. And she went to other cities and has been studying Agile and some other disciplines.
Started through the jam.
And it all starts in the jam. They come to the jam, and the jam just completely blows their mind. And then they're off on a very different life journey they didn't anticipate. So it's really awesome.
It's a dangerous place to be at the jam. Adam, would you agree?
Yeah, it is. And some of this stuff is fantastic. It makes me nervous because I think people outside must think it's some kind of strange religion. But what are we doing? We're giving people a space to be themselves. We're giving people a space to try something new, and often that's all that you need. People have been uncomfortable where they are. They've had a need to try something new, but they've not had permission. And that's what the jam gives you permission.
It's an excuse. It gives an excuse.
Yeah, sure. And it's amazing. The jams are so different. I mean, I was thinking, what have I learned from jamming? It's been so much. It's the best learning space that I know. I remember being in a jam once that I was not facilitating, and somebody else was running the jam, a Norwegian guy running the jam, and he started it, and he started it very slow, And if you know me, I'm a crazy guy. I'm jumping around all the time and squeaking chickens at time. He was really, really slow. He sat us all down on the floor and he told us a story, and I was hating it. I was thinking, oh, you're ruining my jam, and I was so wrong. It was brilliant, and it absolutely fit him, and it fit that group, and it was perfect. And I learned there's a million ways to jam as well. It shouldn't be a monoculture. Every way, give it a try. It's a safe space for hosts. It's a safe space for participants, partners. Everyone can get in and try something new. Why not? It's just 48 hours. What can go wrong?
Well, we got the question in the chat from John. He's asking, what is the jam? And we answered that question basically in the first 5 minutes. We'll do a replay of that for you, John. But we're talking about the jam, but it's actually the global service jam. There are more jams out there. Yeah. And if you'd like to know more about how you can participate in the jam, I think it's planet. What is the URL, Adam?
The link I recommend for beginners is one called thisishowwejam.org. Thisishowwejam.org.
And
all right, to the other down the page.
If I can add a comment right there, what I tell people is that jamming is like riding a bike. I can explain to you riding a bike so much, but you just have to get on the bike to know what riding a bike is.
And we got a question from Mike, who's super active in this session. Props for you, Mike. He says, how do you deal with an individual who comes with a very set agenda and seeks to dominate? We've had a couple of times, not always easy to deal with using kindness approach. Which one of you would like to comment on that? So how do you deal with people who have their own agenda coming to the jam?
I'll take a first stab at that.
Sure, go ahead.
Something that I learned for myself, and I see other people experience in the jam is the humility when you're testing prototypes, because we do have people stop and test with somebody out there outside their team, and you see their face transform from presenting their brilliant idea to encountering the market, right? The other user, and realizing all the things they didn't think about, a lot of things that other people don't care for. So that first humbling moment helps to break that down. And so we do schedule testing during the jam, and that really helps break down agendas, at least in my experience.
Great point. Anything to add?
I think how you set up and frame the very beginning of your jam to make it a safe space, a comfortable space, a place to leave agendas at the door really helps. And then I guess it's who you've chosen to facilitate and mentor, and how you guide that person through having a jamming experience, but also support potentially the group and or the broader group to make sure that everyone's voice is heard.
Adam?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of tricks here around multi tracking as well.
Besides using the baseball bat.
So if somebody's got a great idea, you go, fantastic, put it on the wall, we need 9 more. And then we say, okay, it's prototyping time. They go, well, we're going to build this. Yeah, you've got to build 3, not 1. 3 now. And then they start being forced to look at other things. And what happens is, of course, ideas mutate, and they evolve, and they can combine with each other. You get idea sex, some people call it, so new ideas come out of that. And I think that combination of sort of forcing quantity in short time and keeping multi-tracks going really helps people be true to their passion, because someone loves that idea. So great, let's accept that, but let's turn it into a testable thing really early, so they can have the experience Ezekiel talks about. And have other things as backups. So they start taking the best of different ideas and combining them and testing it again. And they usually can find a way to let go then.
Paola, do you have anything to add what has been said so far?
Yes. Yeah, no, I think everybody just summarized the things I wanted to say, but also I think it's really important to let people get lost. Like, when somebody has an agenda, they come with a very strong sense of what they want to do in the jam, do it, and we usually try to get lost in the information. The secret teams helps a lot to make that happen. So really giving a voice to everybody at the groups all the time, the same person, the chance to speak all the time, because he's going to lead all the process, but to let all the team work together as a team.
So that's the important
role. And that way you can,
of course,
break that agenda that somebody is going to try to impose to the others.
Mike, let us know if this has been of any help so far. Guys, one of the questions that I had that popped up during lunch is, will we still have or need a global service jam in 5 years? Paola, what would you say? What do you think?
Yes. What I think is that for the host is always a challenge. We've been doing this for 3 years already, and do a jam is a different experience, it's a different challenge. Now we are doing something different. We want to not only do it in Bogota, because we have been doing this for 3 years already here. And we are trying to go to different places with the jam and host in another city where there is no jamming. We teach people from there to do the jams, and that way we want to spread the community around Colombia, which is our job also as a host, to help the community get bigger and bigger. It is that usually don't have this kind of methodologies because they don't have the opportunity to have people leading these events there.
That's awesome.
So yeah.
What do you think? Will there still be a jam in 5 years?
I think yes, and I think that because for as long as we're learning, and I think Adam touched on it, a number of people have brought up that the jam is a learning community. So for so long as we're learning from each other, I see that this community will live and exist and grow. And so long as there are, you know, drawing on my background in government and with the GovJam, for so long as there are big government problems to solve, and if you watch the news, it doesn't look like they're going away anytime soon. I think there's a place for the GovJam. So, yeah.
Esguel, what do you think? And if there will be a jam in 5 years, will it be any different from what we have today?
I envision every city in the world jamming in 5 years. A massive, massive global jam.
Massive
a true global jam. Yes.
We have seen quite a lot of evolution in the jams over the years.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought. You've seen it for the last 7 years, right? So take us through the journey really quick.
Well, I think there have been a kind of sort of waves that we've gone through, and we certainly try and pick these up and steer them with our messaging from the headquarters. And in the early years, in the first couple of years, it was really about doing,
just lost,
trying to persuade people to stop talking and try something. Yeah. And that was a bit of a struggle. Then people got that. They got doing, not talking. And they were going with ideas and running around with those. And we really pushed prototyping for a while. You know, what is the difference between a prototype and a 3D presentation? Because just because it's made of plasticine or plate and cardboard, that doesn't mean it's a prototype. It might just be a 3D metaphor, you know? So we pushed prototyping for a while. People have picked up on that now. Yeah? And then in recent years, we're pushing sort of get out of your seat, get onto the street. So trying to persuade people to start with a problem and not with an idea, to start with an observation or a potential, yeah, rather than starting off with the first one with an idea. So if you like, first of all, it was the activity, then it was understanding prototyping, now it's understanding, I guess, research, if you like, yeah. And who knows where it'll go next. Matt Edgar, again, a GovJam person, he says that I think there are, I don't know, 4,500 cities on the world of more than whatever the number is people, and there are only 40 GovJams. You know, why is there that much difference? Because they all need one. You know?
Can I just add a point to that?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Thank you. And I think the longevity of the jam, the fact it's lasted 7 years and it's still fresh and people are still passionate about it, has to do with that it's owned by the jamming community itself. Adam and Marcus, who co-initiated, haven't held on to it. They haven't said, you know, this is how you must jam and you must follow this procedure and do this at your first hour. And, you know, there's a few rules that we stick to very closely, but the community really owns the jam and takes it forward, and it goes in directions sometimes that are unanticipated, and that's awesome. It's built through that community, and that's what keeps it fresh, and that's why I think it will last.
So the jam is basically a reflection of what's happening in the service design space at this moment, right?
And I hope wider too. As I say, you know, it's the biggest event in the world using service design, but it's not a service design event. You can come with any tool set, and that's really important, I think.
How many jams are there this year?
We don't know yet because we're just opening up.
How many jams are there so far? How many?
So far, we're about 40. Usually, the global service jam is around 90. I think between 90 and 110 were the biggest ones we ever had. So it's around there somewhere. But we never know, and we get people signing up to host jams while the jam is running. You know,
oh man, yeah.
Seen this online. I've got 3 friends at my house. Can we join? And we say, sure. You know, other folks forget to register. You know, so
and they just do it.
They come up and they're like on the Friday evening. They're saying, "Where's the theme video? I need the theme video. I've got 120 people here." And we say, "Who are you? Welcome." It's, you know, we never know until the last minute.
So we're heading a halfway hour in. People are still watching us. That's great, guys. Hooray for us. Let us know if you have any questions, because I'm really curious, and this is your moment to ask the jammers who are actually doing it some questions. So go ahead in the chat. I'm reading the chat as we go along, and if you have any questions for these guys, let me know. So let's go. What is the thing that usually gets you excited about the jam? Because you're not going to jam this year, but what is usually the thing in the jam that you look forward to the most?
Is seeing what people come up with, and seeing people surprised by the different elements of the jam. And then I'm always surprised. I like I said earlier, I'm surprised in the amount of volume of really good work people can produce in a very short time. And I've been doing this for a while now, and it still surprises me every time that it happens.
Paola, what is the thing you're looking forward to?
I think it's pretty much like Ezequiel, also to look to different people coming and learning. I think that's like the most beautiful thing in a jam, because, for example, here in Bogota, service design is already like taking strength, but not many people knows what service design is all about, and we usually do this to also get people like an idea of different things and a different way to do things. I think that's the most important part, to not let yourself like rebel because you don't know how to do things, because these jams let you think in a different way of doing and not talking.
Ruth, same question for you. If you would have to pick one thing, what gets you the most excited prior to the jam?
For me, it's the global connection. So I love being part of something that is happening in my city or my area, and I'm connecting with local people. But knowing that all around the world, there's other people doing the same, and being able to connect with them through Twitter and the hashtags and social media and those kind of things, or Skype with them if you're able to. Feeling like I'm part of a global movement for change and learning is.
You really feel that, right?
There's nothing like it.
Yeah, you really feel that if you start following the photos, the hashtag, you really feel that you're part of something bigger than your own local team, right?
Yeah, and I don't know anything else that gets people from the diversity of countries together, and it doesn't matter, you know, what politicians are saying or what's happening in the world. It's just people, you know, on a weekend getting together, trying to learn, trying to make something to make, you know, a better service. There's nothing like it.
Adam, a question for you, because there might be people watching this show and thinking, "Oh, this is awesome! I want to participate." How can we join in on this community?
The best way is to go along to a jam if there's one near you and just try it out. And if there's not, start one. You know, you really can. Anyone can run a jam. You need no qualifications, no professional experience. The first jam we ran, there were 60 sites, and everyone was doing it for the first time. And it was terrifying, but it worked. You know, there's a great community of people to support you. So there are lots of resources online and so on. You can find out how to do this stuff, or you can make something up. You can literally just get people together and say, "How should we do this, guys?" You know, it could be anything. One of my favorite jams that I sort of saw secondhand was a bunch of guys on the Gold Coast in Australia, and they seemed to be in a beach hut somewhere with some beer, you know, and they kind of pinged me on the Friday evening and said, you know, "So what's service design?" And I said, "Google it." And they said, "Okay," you know, and they went away. They had a great jam. I mean, today we're more advanced with our support systems than we were back then. But if you check out the website, this is howwejam.com. This is, sorry, .org. This is howwejam.org, or just the hashtag GSJam, GSJam, Global Service Jam. You'll find you can get lots of people who'll help you out. They'll explain what's going on to you. They'll set you off. There's always someone who can provide you with you know, templates or graphics or stuff like that. If you just ask, you know, people are super generous about this, and that's what I love about it the most. There's the enormous generosity of people like, you know, these three here in the middle of their working day or in the middle of the night in one case, getting up
So, but do we have to officially sign up for something?
Yeah. So what you get when you sign up is you get access to that community. It costs nothing, by the way. It's free. Nobody makes any money out of the jam. That's really important. But you get access to this community of sort of support and ideas and resources. You get sort of a handbook that tells you that can help you, and lots of other sort of things you can use, graphics and so on. And most importantly, you get the secret theme, because every jam kicks off with a secret theme, which is supposed to be a surprise. Yeah. So people come to the jam not knowing what it's going to be about. It's going to be about services or Gov or sustainability, whatever it is, particular jam. But they don't know what the secret theme is going to be. And that's usually in the form of a video, which we produce and subtitle and send out around the world. When I say we, I mean the community does this. And if you're signed up, you'll get that. So you'll have the same starting point that every jam around the world has.
Yeah, let's do a sort of a final round, because I'm really curious. We know we've got an idea on how to participate, how we can join. Let's start with you, Ruth. Give me, if I'm considering in participating or starting my own local jam, give me one reason why I should do it.
Because you won't be the same afterwards. So if you want to challenge yourself, I think, and particularly for the government people, if anyone's listening, because that's my crowd, I think the jam builds innovators, not innovations. So while the prototypes are amazing and the things we come up with sometimes are taken forward, what it does is it equips you to go and make change in other parts of your life. As Ezekiel said, that could be your personal career. It could be just doing your job differently. So I think if you want to be challenged and learn in a way that you've never learned, made some deep connections with people, and go and approach life differently, you should come to the jam.
Oh man, Paola, you're going to have a hard time adding something.
No, come on, let's start with Ezekiel.
I'm doubting if I should join a jam. Why should I join a jam?
I think it's the most rewarding experience you can have as a service designer, because that's the place you learn that this is for everybody. Like, everybody can learn from this. Everybody can have different ways to think about their problems and how to solve them. And I also believe it's like this huge community that wants you to be part of something and wants you to learn. I think the learning part for the hosts is amazing. Because you get connected to different people from Australia, from Miami, with Adam, with Natasha, with Marcus. They have so much experience, and you just get in a network that you never want to leave.
Sounds good. Esquel, what would you say? Give me one reason why I should jam.
Oh my God. I think coming to the jam will uplift you, inspire you, and transform you.
That's quite a promise, man. Adam, you're last in line.
There's usually food. It's a good reason to go.
Food. I was waiting for that answer.
But I think if you are in your life like I am, and you're looking at things around you, and you're looking at the way things are done, the way that work days are organized, the way that things are set up in your life, and you think there's got to be a better way than this. Yeah, I'm hating this meeting. There's got to be a better way. This project sucks. There's got to be a better way. My environment, my city, it's not working completely. There's got to be a better way. Yeah, then go to a jam and you'll find a whole bunch of alternatives. You may hate some of them. You may love some of them. Probably be a mix of those, actually. But you will come out equipped with other ways to approach problem solving and creation in your life. And I think that's super valuable. Marina Paranetto, another great jammer, she says there are 52 weekends in a year. You know, one of them can be for a jam.
Awesome. Final question for you, Adam. What's the secret theme?
We don't know yet, actually. We haven't fixed one yet. Really fun ones recently. They've been everything from short phrases to sounds to pictures to little animations. They're usually quite abstract to give you a surprise when you start and to make sure there's no experts in the room. But in the next week or so, we're going to have a little conversation behind the jam scenes, and we'll start fixing that.
Really cool. I really enjoyed this conversation with you guys, and I want to thank everybody who's who's watched us live talking for the last 40 minutes. Yeah, this gets me excited and interested in the jam, and I hope it does for you too. So thanks if you've been watching this live. Thanks if you've been participating. Make sure you check out thisishowwejam.org. Join a jam, join a local jam, start one if there's none. Connect with the global community, share what you're doing, and take one weekend of your life to transform who you are, right? That's the goal here.
Thanks for having us, Mark, and thanks, guys, for coming all the way from all around the world.
All around the world.
Thank you.
Super thanks, Ruth. Super thanks, Paola as well, and Adam. Good luck and have fun in the coming weeks, you all. And really curious to hear what the results will be in March 12th. So thanks again. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being there. And this was the Service Design special live episode regarding the Global Service Jam. See you all, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.